Alrighty. Hi, everyone. I'm going to call the selection committee to order for the ARPA data and evaluation RFP review and response. With quorum present and representatives, I will move. Sorry, Nick, did I actually have to ask folks to say they're present for me to say quorum is present? My mind just blinked.
No, you can do a roll call if you wish.
Sure. I will do a roll call. Alderwoman Ingracia. Christine Ingracia.
Present.
Bassett Simmons.
Present.
Vernon Mitchell.
Present.
And Simon Huang. He nodded. That is a present. And then Grace Kyung as chair is also present. With that note, I'll move to the first item on the agenda, which is approval of minutes from August 25th, 2023. Are there any comments? If there are no comments, then I will ask for a motion to approve the minutes from August 25th.
So moved.
Second.
Right, moved by Vernon, seconded by Christine. With that, I will call roll to vote on this. So I'll start with Christine.
Aye.
Beth.
Abstain.
Vernon.
Aye.
Simon. Oh, you're muted, Simon, but is that an aye?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And then the chair also approves it. So with that, we have 4 ayes and 1 abstention. And so for the next item on the agenda is the consideration of responses for the ARPA data and evaluation RFP. I was thinking for this conversation, we could just talk about all of them one by one, any initial comments and feedback. And so with that note, I was thinking we could start with the Daniel Walker proposal. With this proposal, in reviewing it, I thought the consulting team seemed really experienced. They had a lot of background in evaluation that was very scientific and gave a very detailed analysis of how they would do this review. And they also have a community partner that can help with outreach and engagement. My concern with this is, while those are good strengths, just our departments, I don't think will have all the data they need to do an analysis. And I do not view that this vendor would actually need to do a lot of direct community outreach, because the data that would be collected would be really coming from the departments and the subrecipients we've contracted with. And so I didn't think we needed to do as heavy of a focus on engagement itself. But with that, I'll pause to see if any other selection committee members had comments. Okay, if there's no other comments, I'll go on to the next proposal. The next one is Metropolitan Strategies and Solutions. Similar comments as the Daniel Walker team. I thought this was a very experienced team, and that they had well-defined objectives, understanding of the work product. I particularly liked looking at the examples they shared of previous work they had conducted, particularly the New York one. I thought that was a very helpful visual to see potentially what it could look like for St. Louis. And I also appreciated with this proposal that they are being really upfront with what they view as their responsibility versus the city's responsibility. And they do have someone on the team that is based in St. Louis, while the other individuals would be, it sounds like, working remotely. So I think that's also helpful with the departments in data gathering and being able to work with someone in person here if that is needed. Similar concerns that while their data analysis would be really good, it would be a lot on the departments to get the information that they need for them to analyze the data and data analysis. But of course, this is going to be a concern overall, no matter who the proposal is from. But I thought that they were very clear, concise, and of course, their budget was within scope as well. And as a note, all of the budgets were within scope of the threshold. So I thought with their previous experience, they were a strong candidate. With that, I'll take a pause to see if anyone else has any comments on this proposal.
I can jump in, Grace. Yeah, I agree that their response was pretty comprehensive, and they seem to have some good data science expertise on their team. I think one of the projects that I talked about was COVID response they did, I think, in New York, which was particularly interesting. So yeah, I think they were definitely one of the better responses I saw out of the group that responded.
Thanks, Simon. I will continue down the list. Of course, folks, feel free to jump in. Let me know if you have any comments. And so the next proposal I will jump to is Open Health. So with Open Health, I did like that they were a local team, and their team also seemed experienced, and it seems like they have experience working with a statewide agency and local governmental agencies, but this proposal was very high level. It didn't go into as much detail as some of our other respondents. And there, I did have a concern that they were upfront that they would focus on 2 to 4 high priority projects in ARPA, and seeing how we do need to work with the consultant. So one, establish what those priorities are, how we look at the data we already have, and then from there build from it. I thought that I appreciated that they were transparent, but it also was a concern of mine that they would limit it to 2 to 4 high priority projects. And with that, I didn't have any other specific thoughts on this proposal. I'll take a pause to see if anyone else did.
I would just say, oh, this is Vernon. I shared the same concerns you had, Grace, about Open Health in terms of the scope and the, 2 high priority, I just didn't feel like it had the detail that some of the others had that we had to review.
Thanks, Vernon. Okay, so the next one is Remedy Healthcare Consulting. So this team was very experienced and knowledgeable with health as a overall in terms of how government and statewide agencies work. My concerns with this is this didn't go into a lot of specificities of like other knowledge expertise they're bringing outside of like the healthcare system. But my biggest concerns were them being upfront that they would use Smartsheet, and I've used Smartsheet in the past, and I think it'd be successful if we are only talking about KPIs, but I do think there's a lot of limitations in also using Smartsheet for data analysis. And there was also a comment they made that each month they would bill for the same amount, and I don't view that this work would be the same amount per month. I think that on the front end, particularly the first year, there will be a lot more work than the second and third year. So that made me kind of concerned on how much time they actually have available in working with the city in developing the work we need around data and evaluation. Okay, and then the last proposal we received was the UMSL Community Innovation and Action Center. I know many of us on this call are familiar with SEAC, and I think they have a really good, strong local network, local presence, really good understanding of city government and how we function as a city. My concern when looking at it with the other proposals is I don't believe their data platform and analysis as strong in some of these ones we've already talked about. And so to be able to use a lot of different data analysis and open up the city an opportunity to really think about data differently, how we share that data publicly. I like that some of these other proposals can bring a wider array of expertise to it. And one thing that I didn't put in my initial notes, but just looking back on their proposal is I am also concerned about just capacity. They are working with the city on a couple other projects as well. And so I don't know what the full overlap would be with that team and the other projects that they already support for the city. That would be a concern to move forward with them. So I'll take a quick pause before I move to any recommendations.
I had an issue with capacity as well. I liked what they submitted, but again, as you pointed out, they're working on a couple other projects, and I didn't know their ability to be able to give this the attention that I think it needs. So that's just my 2 cents.
Do we think they would have responded to the request if they didn't have the capacity to take it on?
No, I think that's a fair thought, Christine. I would hope that they have the capacity to take on this project too, but I know one of the other projects they're helping support is the vacancy strategy, and the vacancy strategy is also going to be time intensive. And I personally don't know how much of their time is devoted to that contract, but I know in the next year that's going to be ramping up. So to take on the ARPA and data and valuation project as well with that, all the vacancy one taking up speed, that was just a concern that crossed my mind.
Are they doing something with reparations also?
Not to my knowledge, not yet.
Okay. Maybe I've received some misinformation there.
Yeah, this is Simon Grace. Just to comment, yeah, I mean, we are familiar with CIEC and some of the personnel in there, and I like that they are local, so they could provide more on-the-ground support than maybe some of the other ones. And while their response covered all the areas, the scope of services that we talked about, I think it was slightly light in terms of the analytics capabilities, or at least a demonstration of the analytic capabilities compared to some of the other vendors that we saw. So yeah, that's just my comment on the UMSL response.
I just want to go back to the reparations piece. They have been in contact with the commission, but I don't think that they're working on anything yet.
Thank you. With that, in terms of reviewing all 5 proposals, I would like to make a recommendation, but before I do, I didn't know if folks had any other comments, things that they wanted to share before we start selecting a potential vendor. Okay, so in reviewing just strengths and weaknesses as us as a city, I was thinking that metropolitan strategies and solutions would be a strong fit for the city in terms of their expertise in working with other cities and building out dashboards and being familiar with federal dollars in response to the pandemic. And I also think they could bring in an opportunity for the city and how we look at data collection and using those different skill sets and tools that they have available in their team. I do have questions that I'd like to talk to them about in terms of what type of technical support they can offer the departments in building out frameworks and dashboards and collecting that data, because that's something that I know our departments are going to need that's really easy to use. So I would like to meet with them to talk through those questions, but I thought out of the 5 proposals, these seemed the strongest to meet our need in helping the city evaluate what they'll also need, because I did again like the clear expectations. And one of them I think will be that the mayor's office will continue to talk about data analysts and staffing roles that we could do to maybe support the data collection and evaluation of this work. And I also think with what they're good at in terms of displaying data and information, the mayor's office recently hired an ARPA marketing and communications consultant that this vendor could potentially complement them well, and that the communications and marketing vendor can help us with messaging once we get the data platform and dashboard ready to go. And so I'll take a pause to see what you all think of that recommendation, if there's any additional comments anyone would like to make.
I would support that recommendation, Grace. This is Simon.
Yeah, I'm happy to, if we're ready to make a motion.
On that motion, could we include pending conversation about the questions that I think we all kind of had about capacity and that nature?
Sure, I move that we accept the application for Metropolitan Strategies and Solutions, LLC, pending Grace's conversation to clear up some of the outstanding questions we have.
I second it.
Okay, it's been motioned by Christine, seconded by Simon. So I will do a roll call vote that we are good with Metropolitan Strategies and Solutions and the selection for this RFP response to ARPA data and evaluation. So with that, I will start with Christine.
Aye.
Bev,
Abstain.
Vernon,
Aye.
Simon,
Aye.
and then Grace, aye. So with that, I will keep the selection committee up to date if we decide to move forward with Metropolitan Strategies and Solutions after that initial conversation. And if all goes well, we'll enter into contract negotiation with them. With that, I don't have any other agenda items, and so I will entertain a motion to adjourn our meeting.
So move.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Alrighty, well, thank you all. I hope everyone has a happy Wednesday.